Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and this is the next episode of my end-of-the-year build vlog. Today I'm going to be retrofitting my Khaos to the new Proton pack system. Now, some of you may remember that this was, in fact, an end-of-the-year build a couple of years ago, where I built a Khaos that could work either with its own battery and a regular magazine, or it could work with a Proton pack. However, it was built to the previous modular Proton pack specs, and I have since changed because we have new technology. We have a new Proton pack design, and so this one is going to need a little bit of retrofitting in order to work with the new system, because the new system is designed to have the battery in the backpack, and the Proton pack powers the blaster. This one was built where the battery in the blaster powers the Proton pack. So if you have a LiPo in here and you pull the rev trigger, not only does it rev, but power then comes out of this jack on the bottom of the blaster and feeds to the Proton pack to turn it on. Well, that's obviously not correct for us. We want it to power to feed into here as if it was feeding in from the LiPo. So we simply need to go in, take a look at the wiring, and move it basically to the other side of the rev switch. Right now, this is hot when it's revved, and it needs to be the other way around, where power, instead of rev sending power to here needs to send power to rev. It should be as simple as probably switching two wires. I might have to move a couple of wires about. We will see. We're going to open it up and take a look. We then have some other gizmos that I'm going to attach, some of which are printing and may get done. I'm hoping I can get this thing retrofitted to fire before I lose daylight today so I can film. We will see. Alright, so sure enough, the wiring is exactly how I expected it was going to be, and it should be fairly simple. If you see this red wire, which we'll start with this one. This red wire is coming from our battery, goes to our rev switch, and then comes back up to this Y. So it's split here. And one of the lines goes to our motors, so when we pull the trigger, it revs. The other one is going to this jack, and so that is why when we pull the trigger, power goes out to the backpack. So all I need to do is change the split. So instead of it splitting onto this wire, I need to have it go to this wire. So power comes in from here and would then splice onto this and go to my rev switch and out. And so it would be, whether you plug into here or plug into here, it'll be exactly the same, which should be a fairly simple splice. Let's see if we can get in there. The cable management was done well, but it means making changes is a little bit difficult. Alright, the rewiring has been a success. You can now plug in here or here, it makes no difference. I will be adding one last bit, which one of my concerns was that if there's a battery plugged in here, then every time you pull the rev trigger, this will be hot, and I didn't like that. And I looked into a couple of options, and a couple of people actually came to one of the same ideas that I did, which was, instead of wiring it directly into the circuit, just having it be basically an extension that had a cable that came up to here that you can then plug in here. And so you could either plug a LiPo in here, or you could plug this jack in here and then plug your backpack into it. And that actually, like I said, I came up with that idea, and then I had at least one person comment it, and someone else reached out to me on Facebook to mention it, and I seriously considered it. The other option was to just make a cover for this, and I looked into it, and it turns out there are jacks that have a built-in cover, but they don't make them for XT60, they only make them for XT90, which is a larger jack. And so I simply 3D printed my own little flap in TPU that I will put here, and there'll be two screws that hold it here, and then you can simply open it up, plug in, cover it when you're not using it, and that way it's not exposed, you don't have exposed wires, you don't have grit and dirt getting in there. and that's how I'm gonna do it. It'll be a super simple, low-tech fix. It'll just use 2 Nerf screws, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna button it up, I'm gonna screw that on, and then we're gonna go to the range and fling some foam. And then I will come back and hopefully the additional gizmos that I'm wanting to print will have finished printing, and I will be able to show it off. So, here we go. All right, it's back together. I've got the cover on there. You just pull this and lift up, and now I can plug in and push it back down to cover it. Hopefully it will last. If not, it takes literally 6 minutes to print another one. And we're gonna take this to the range and see if it will flingeth the foam about. Or not, I missed a step. I need to add the proper hose connector. All right, now we're going to the range. Right, it's cold, it's damp, and I'm losing daylight. So let's see how long it takes me to hit down 8 bottles. They hit the 50? I got them all. Accuracy through volume. Let's get some paint. I like it. It feeds nice and consistently, and it's actually much lighter than you would expect when it doesn't have a battery or a magazine in it. And it's big, it's beefy, it's space rifly. I dig it. Right. I have to go clean up this mess, and then to show off some upgrades. Some upgrades. Garden Weasel, get yourself one. Right, I'm back in the shop, and the parts that I was printing have printed and have been installed, namely Picatinny rail. Now, the Khaos naturally has rival rail along the top, and then it had rival rail down here under the barrel so you could have a foregrip, but I needed Picatinny rail, obviously. So I went on Thingiverse and found a Nerf rail to Picatinny rail adapter, courtesy of this fine person, who's, I don't know how you would pronounce that, but the link to it will be down in the description if you should be interested. Like I said, made a few minor modifications to it, then had to do some filing to get it to fit the item that I wanted to attach. I then took that same file, did some very creative slicing to it in my slicer, and came up with this, which is just a plate with Picatinny rail on the side that is then screwed into from the inside to attach. And yeah, now I've got Picatinny rail on the side and the bottom. And oh my, whatever might I want that for? I'm sure I cannot imagine. Oh yes. Oh yes. We'll get to that later. Come on there. Anyway. So there it is. The Khaos is now upgraded to use the modular system. I've got a couple more blasters that still need to be retrofitted and upgraded. And then of course I have backpacks that need to get retrofitted and or upgraded. So we will carry on the series. Thank you for watching.